Game started.
Okay, we got a game. I'm playing against Two Dog Man from the US. And he starts out with e4. And let's see, have I played a Sicilian yet? No, let's do a Sicilian. e4, c5. He goes for d3. Oh, this is a very quiet line against a Sicilian. So I'll go for a dragon setup with the bishop on g7 here. g7, that's right. And what do I want? He hasn't developed this bishop, so I don't have to play e6. But sometimes e6 is good to control these squares, and my idea is to bring the knight over here to e7 and then push on to d5. Okay, so everybody castles. I'm going to castle too. I'm just thinking about bringing my knight here first. This is a normal place for the knight, and I'm going to castle. He's going to bring his bishop over here to h6 and threaten to trade. I'm going to just leave it there. Let him take if he wants to. I can't really stop it. And it's not clear that I want to stop it now. I could expand on the queen side. I think I will. I can just play b5 directly. And pawn here, this is hanging. But he hasn't done that. So let's get the bishop on this diagonal. Looks like this will be good. I'm thinking eventually he wants to push that pawn, yeah. And that will open up this diagonal. So let's take here. And if he takes on this, if he takes my pawn on b5, yeah, he did. He took here. All very straightforward. So now I need to do something about this guy. Probably protect him with a6. Is there anything else here? He's been playing awfully quick if you look at the times. But it's sort of, I find that disconcerting sometimes because I don't have as much time to think. I like to think on my opponent's time when I can. Okay, now he's pausing to think. So seems like to me we've got an even position. I have an open file for my rook, the c file. He still has to develop his knight. Is that a good square for the queen? The queen can form a battery. Ah, yes. This also is an immediate threat of the queen to the king here. So pushing the pawn with check would win a piece over here. And so I just need to get out of that. So my rating is at 1401 now, which is, let's see, it's up from last time I was doing this. I played a bunch of games and won quite a few in a row. After losing a bunch, my rating went down and then up again. But I have been up to around 1500. And so I was hoping that doing these Blitz videos would cause me to think a little more and be able to improve my rating somewhat. Hasn't necessarily worked out. So let's see, there's two defenders on that. I was just wondering about queen b6 to try and double up on that. But I think I'll just play the normal move, which is rook c8. And now the queen is coming in for the kill. Okay, so there's an immediate threat here of knight to g5, and that threatens mate over here. So I probably want to control this square. I could control it by getting this knight out of the way. The queen would be on that square, but that's not, no, that wouldn't work. So maybe that's my only move. f6, just control that square and keep the knight out. It also gives the rook room. It's nice in these positions sometimes to play rook f7 and defend the pawn over here laterally. It's got a funny configuration of 4 pawns in a row. The interesting thing about pawns when they're side by side is they control all these squares in front of them, so it's difficult for pieces to land. Although you do have to watch out for tactical tricks. Okay, so this is now got only a single defender. So if I were to move my queen here, for example, I'd be threatening to take it. What else? What are my ideas here? I could sack a knight and get the 2 center pawns for the knight, which would be kind of interesting. So knight takes, bishop takes. Oh, no, no, the knight's defending that. Oh, it was nonsense. That was nonsense. Okay. Let's just play a protective move there. Bishop f7. Maybe queen over. Chases queen away. Oh, the queen ran ahead of time. So what am I going to do in the center here? I want to play d5, but he might play e5 in response. I guess that is okay, because I can take and open up the f-file, and that I can double on the f-file and maybe get some pressure on it. Also, if this pawn comes forward, my knight can come to f5 with tempo. Let's do that and see where the queen goes. He's not taking anything with check, yeah, so that forces the queen to move. Queen has some squares. It could go here, but I'm going to open up the f-file, so maybe that's not the most comfortable square. Queen could go here or anywhere along this row. Yeah, it looks like a reasonable square. Now, am I threatening to win? Well, I want to take that pawn anyway. If he takes with the knight, I'm going to take, because I want this pawn to be free to go forward, so I can get pressure on this diagonal. And I can punch this forward now, or I can attack this pawn. Let's try going after that pawn, and also allowing me to double my rooks over here. He can counter by putting his rook on c1, pinning this knight. I could move my queen to b8 to unpin it. But I might leave it there and just play rook to f8 first. I think this pressure on the f-file is going to be good for me. Let's see, there are other tactical tricks here. If the rook is there, I could move the knight and attack the queen. And if he takes the knight, then I can grab the rook. But that's just 2 rooks for a queen. I would have a rook down here delivering check, but as long as he can block it easily, that's not giving me any advantage. In fact, it's losing, because he'll have a good knight here. Yeah. Well, the other way to play it would be knight here, attacking the queen. Rook takes... Well, the rook goes with check, so knight here, knight b4, rook takes queen on c7, knight takes queen on d3, and rook takes here on c8 check. Bishop takes rook, and then he can take my knight. So, not good for me. So I'll just unpin here. Don't want to leave that hanging for too long, and I'm renewing the threat of taking on e5 there. Let's see, let's look at the pawn structure. So I have my pawns on light squares, which get in the way of my bishop. I'm trying to keep the option open of pushing this pawn forward. His bishop is a good bishop. He doesn't have any pawns on light squares, but at the moment his bishop is hemmed in by his own pieces. His knights. His knights have good squares. Yeah, the knight there, that's a good square. So I could grab a pawn because that hits the queen. And he's not taking the rook with check, so let's go ahead and grab the pawn first.
Check.
That goes with check. Now, do I want to keep supporting the knight? Or not? I could just take with the queen there. Then his queen can move and attack my knight. So let's take with the bishop, keeping the queen supporting my knight. Now he's got to move his queen. And then I'll have time to move my rook. The bishop's defending this pawn on e6, which is important. The knight's attacking here. The knight is attacking e6. So let's see what's going on. This knight is held at bay momentarily by these pawns. So these pawns, although they're blocking my bishop, they're also covering some important light squares, keeping his knight from getting in the action. He does have to move his queen somewhere. Where can it go? Okay, it goes over to that square. Is it hitting anything really important? Okay, so what's loose? That's a loose knight. That's a loose knight. That's a loose bishop. This is loose. Well, it's protected by the queen. This is protected. This is protected. So this looks pretty good for me. I just want to move my knight so I don't lose it. I move my rook. Move my rook so I don't lose it to that knight. Maybe this is a good square. It means this rook is, this knight is momentarily loose, but I'm going to bring the knight down here and chase the other knight away, I think, unless there's a good square there for the knight. Ah, okay, he brought the knight here to challenge, so I just wanted to trade the knight off because I thought that knight was a good piece of his, and I might as well get rid of it. Get rid of your opponent's good pieces. Okay. Now the queen is not on, the bishop is not covering this square anymore. Queen does not look like it's making any killer threats. Do I have any killer threats? I would like to liberate my bishop. Right now it's defending this pawn. I'd like to put my king up here, but the queen can just check me on that square. Let's bring the rook out. The bishop can chase it away by coming back to here, and then the rook maybe has another useful square to go to. We'll see. Can't go here. He's going after the knight. That would be okay with me. Let's double up on the C file here and keep control of it. Now, which way do I want to take? It's down to queen and knight and rook versus queen, bishop and rook. I think I want to keep this as a mobile pawn here, and have to watch out for this fork here from the knight. Yeah, the queen can go there. Queen can go all the way down to this square here. Let's cover some of those squares. The queen can also come in to here, say, and attack my flank pawns. That is a pretty good, a pretty good knight there, but I think I can put my bishop on b7 and push the pawn here and have some good pieces myself. I have opened up my king here. That's the one danger, and the knight and queen against a king is pretty strong sometimes. Okay, so he's going there. It looks like I can't really stop that. I want to get rid of queens if he lets me. Yeah, okay, now he's got a check here. But the king comes forward and the bishop is defended. So let's think that through. Check. King up. Does he have another check? He can check here. No, can't check here, can't check here. So that's just one check and done. A one and done. So let's move the pawn forward. It's what I wanted to do anyway. Okay, I should watch the time now. 3:43 to 5:30. Yeah, it's tough. You know what he has here? He has rook to
check.
E. Rook to E8 here. Rook to E1 is kind of dangerous. Ah, I missed that. That's an idea too. So he was attacking my queen. I had to move it out of the way, and looks like he won back his pawn. I think rook E1 might have been stronger, but I guess I still had this move. Queen to D7 might have been okay. He can bring his knight in here with check, but I can just take it. And on most other moves, non-check moves, I can take his queen, so probably has to move his queen. If he doesn't want to give it up now, and if he moves his queen, actually, he loses the knight. So I think the queen trade is more or less forced. And we'll see whose minor piece is better. Right now, my pawns are on the wrong squares for this bishop. But I have time to fix that still. It's not like my pawns are fixed in these positions. So if you can threaten the main thing is to watch out for all those forks. The nasty forks of the knight. Knight tricks. Okay, so let's he can do it. Speaking of forks, he can do that. Now, let's see, before I move too quickly, is there any trick here? I guess I just gotta move the rook. Let's see if he wants to get knights off. I have slightly better king position and more advanced pawns, but this is should be a draw, and with good play. Of course, we're not great players here, so I'm going to play on, see how it develops. So rook activity in the endgame is important. And whenever his rook moves away, I'm going to attack that pawn. Actually, if he comes to this square, though, it's probably not all that helpful, is it? I was just thinking he has this check here, which will pick up something. Yep. Let's attack his unprotected pawn. And he defends it. Yeah, so this is good. That's what you want to see. Now, I'm going to push forward, move my king forward, push, take, 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 take. We'll see. I get something. His king can be confined over here by moving my rook this way. as long as his rook is tied down. I'm going to keep playing on. Let's see, so push, take, 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 take. And I've got a king and pawn on covering all these squares. Ah, yeah. So he's going to liquidate. It's probably a good move. Now I can take, and he takes. Then go here, check. That will drive his king to the back rank. But after that, his rook is here on my pawn and I can't defend it. So rather than do that, I'm going to go ahead like this.
Check.
I'm going to throw in a check. And I'm going to take. And now I can actually get something here. He's going to get that pawn with check. Sorry, he's going to get this pawn with check. But I can check. His king has to run away, and I can go after this pawn. And I can defend this one. So that's my
check.
plan. See, you can't get back to defend
Check.
this pawn, which is kind of funny. It's just one of those peculiar positions. And he can't go up to attack this pawn. He can come down here and attack my king, I guess. So he could go for some kind of perpetual check, which if he does, I'll accept the draw, I guess. But if he doesn't, if he lets me get away with it, I can take here with check and then try and queen this pawn. So let's see. Do I have anything? I could walk my king over this way to stop this pawn. Okay, we'll play on, see what happens. I can't guarantee this will be a win or a loss for either side. But my idea of playing on is he can check me back and forth. I can walk towards the rook until there are no more checks. Ah, there's no more check there. Okay, check.
Check.
See, now this is one of those positions where things get very dangerous. Put my rook behind his pawn so I can try and catch it. But now this threatens mate. See, the pawns, like I was saying, we have two pawns next to each other. They cover a bunch of squares. I'm covering all four of his squares in front of his king. And
checkmate.
That loses. Okay, good game. I'm going to do a video commentary or post-mortem on this, and I'll post that shortly. See you then. Bye.